Did the Confederacy lose the Civil War the moment this map was drawn? Look closely. This is the United States in 1861. Not a battle plan, not a general strategy, just lines on paper, state borders, rivers, rail routes. And yet I would argue that within these lines, the outcome of America's bloodiest war was already taking shape. We remember the Civil War through its generals, Grant, Lee, Sherman, Jackson. Great men, real genius, real courage. But beneath the battlefield lay something colder and far less romantic: geography, industry, rivers, railroads, population. And that hidden war, the war of maps, may have decided everything before a single shot was fired at Fort Sumter. Let's start with industry, because the imbalance here is staggering. The Union counted roughly 110,000 factories. The Confederacy had 18,000. The North controlled 92% of American manufacturing, producing 97% of the nation's firearms, 96% of its locomotives, 94% of its cloth, 32 times more guns, 20 times more iron. The South's greatest foundry, Tredegar Iron Works in Richmond, worked heroically, but Confederate officials were soon melting church bells for bronze cannon. By 1864, the disparity had only widened. Union manufacturing share rose to 98%, while Southern output collapsed to 2%. Now, follow the rivers, because this is where geography turns into strategy. Union General Winfield Scott proposed something called the Anaconda Plan: blockade southern ports, seize the Mississippi, and squeeze the Confederacy until it could no longer breathe. Critics mocked it as too slow, too passive, but watch the map. The Mississippi functioned like a spine running through the Confederate body. Sever it, and everything west of that line, Texas, Arkansas, western Louisiana, loses connection to the Eastern Confederacy entirely. When Grant took Vicksburg on July 4, 1863, that spine snapped. The mocked strategy became the winning one. Then there are the border states: Kentucky, Missouri, Maryland, Delaware, the war's most fragile fault line. Lincoln reportedly said that losing Kentucky would be nearly the same as losing the whole war. And Kentucky's situation was so strange that, for a time, it held representation in both the Union and Confederate governments simultaneously. One state, two loyalties. Missouri controlled the Gateway West and descended into brutal guerrilla conflict. Maryland's loyalty was existential. Had it seceded, Washington would have sat surrounded by Confederate territory. Even tiny Delaware mattered, producing nearly half the Union's gunpowder. These states weren't sideshows. They were the hinge the entire war swung on. And finally, distance. On paper, the Confederacy held the advantage of interior lines, a single connected landmass to shift its forces across. In practice, its railroads told a different story. Mismatched track gauges meant cargo had to be unloaded and reloaded by hand at every junction. The Confederacy built 22 new rail cars during the entire war. The Union built 220. As Union armies tore up Southern track, the South simply couldn't rebuild it. Distance, which should have been a shield, became a slow-motion strangulation. So here is the uncomfortable truth beneath the heroism. Southern commanders, Lee above all, could win brilliant campaigns, tactical masterpieces even. But genius cannot manufacture rifles that don't exist, or repair rail lines the foundries can't replace. The Union could lose an army and rebuild it. The Confederacy could not. Battlefield brilliance can delay an outcome. It cannot rewrite mathematics. In war, as in history, maps do not merely record events. They often foretell them. If you enjoyed this journey through the hidden geography of America's defining conflict, subscribe. There's a great deal more history hiding in the lines of old maps, and I'd be glad to have you along as we uncover it.